Welcome back to the multi-part series. My dad died. Now what? And I'm going to be honest, once I put myself on the hook last week to recording this, I was like, why? Why did you do that, Jen? Oh my gosh. But I'm really excited that this week we get to dive into what I wanted to talk about. One, because I'm here and as per last week, had some technical mishaps. Today, here we are again. And two, because I finally journaled. So I got the care plan that the manager at Empathy had recommended. I started going through some of the things, and one of the things was journaling. And I can't tell you how long I had avoided journaling, but today was the day, and I'm very happy that I did because now I'm a cleaner vessel to share whatever message that is coming through to share with you all. So, for the next installment, what I wanted to share with you all was how, after my dad died, I had almost started defining everything through his death. I started defining our relationship, I started defining my life, his life, witnessing my entire, I think, existence almost through that lens. And it felt really restrained. And I don't know why I insisted on it being so finite, right? Like, well, this is it. This is the end of his life. This is the defining marker. This is the milestone. Like, now all things will be viewed through this lens, through this perspective, through this angle. And within that restriction, I felt that it was unfair, almost reductive, really, to have somebody's entire life, accomplishments, all the lives that they touched, all the ripple effects of their decisions, to just be reduced down to this one moment, right? As exceptional of a moment as it was, as tragic as a moment that it ultimately is that. It's a moment. And I wanted to peel back the layers of that a little bit more and understand that the totality of somebody dying, the overwhelming, comprehensive, absolute impact that somebody dying has on your life, one, makes it feel really selfish when you're left behind, and that is something that I'll address in the next episode, but also it doesn't really speak to the person that they were or the impact that they had on your life if you're now just going to that one instance, that one moment in time that, yes, is a marked occasion, but also not really speaking to the whole of their existence. And it struck me thinking of that because ultimately there had to be an identity shift with that perspective shift, which will also be discussed in a future episode. But really just, I guess, a welcome to all of you to think, whether it's in terms of that you've lost somebody or that you haven't, or that you've had this kind of capital letter event happen in your life, that you've now switched perspective and are viewing your life, giving your life meaning and viewing your existence through this one moment. Can you pull back? Can you give yourself grace? Can you give, the parties who are sharing that experience grace and saying, I can't define you by this moment. I can't define myself by this moment. My life is a series of choices, decisions, impacts, relationships, connections that have led me to where I am right now. So is it fair to view it through that lens? It particularly struck me because obviously there's so much meaning in a father and daughter relationship, right? And all the layers of nuance that exist in the relationship that I had with my father, I feel were almost dismissed when I just started thinking of what was no longer. and defining our connection now through his departing. And it was sad. It made me feel sad. Not just the fact that I'm not going to have, the chance to have my dad on demand anymore, but just sad because I was reframing all these other instances now, looking at it at the end of his life. And it almost did me a disservice because when you're looking at something from such a total, conclusive moment, you rob yourself from the good experience that you had while you were living it. So since then, I've been retracing those steps. So when a memory comes of him, or if I see something that was his, or if I get his scent again, which has happened, especially in a dream, which has been amazing, that I'm not just looking at it through the, oh, well, he's gone now, and that's painful. Now I'm looking at it, yes, he's gone, and I had this live experience, and both of them are true. Both the times that I was with him, I was happy and enjoyed it. Now that he is no longer here, I can hold on to those memories and cherish it. And yes, this was a very defining moment in all of our lives and everybody who was impacted by my dad's departure. And everybody, unfortunately, in that tragic accident. Everybody who has had the ripple effects of that occurrence, to not minimize all of their lived experience. Not saying that you are, speaking for myself, right? Not minimizing all the lived experience, to now be skewed to fit this one box of grief and mourning, right? Because now I'm trying to conform all the other things to, well, it needs to fit in this sadness of my life. And it doesn't. It doesn't. I can feel joy and grief. I can feel anger and gratitude. I can feel the multitude of things that are not neatly compartmentalized, right? Since that theory, or that, not the theory, that theme from the first episode where like we want to clean things up. And this one was a big one for me to help make that messy, because in making it messy and in making it gray, I can appreciate the lived experience with my father. I'm not romanticizing the relationship that I had or that I wish I had. I'm very much aware of all the layers of nuance and complication and just humanness that was in that relationship. And I'm not trying to now fit it into this, well, he's no longer here and I can't say this or I can't feel that or feel judgment or shame on myself for wanting it to be one way over another. No, it can all be held once I stop defining it through, well, he's passed, or I'm grieving his death, or, my siblings and I now have to treat each other, or our family has to act a different way because he's no longer here, right? Like, again, using that death as the marcation for our lives right now. And in doing so, allowing myself to grieve a little bit better, because that just leads me to facing this is the reality, but also that was the past, and also there's a future. So yeah, wanted to share that with you. Very excited for this series, in as much as one can be excited, just being vulnerable and ripping their heart out and saying, here, take a look. Here's what I've got brewing inside. And yeah, until next week when we have episode 3 or part 3, I guess. They're not really episodic. This isn't technically my podcast just yet. But all of these layers that I'm uncovering will hopefully get me back to that place where I am destined, I feel, to be and to share with all you guys of what's going on. So thank you. Have a great day. Thanks for checking this out, and I'll see you next week.